Hello. How are you guys? It's Monday night and there's less cereal behind me because I made Chex Mix and gave some to my neighbors. And I'm getting a lot of weird emails from you. Yes, from you. And they're all about, shockingly enough, the book review. Okay, so I thought I'd make a really short book review video. And then tomorrow or Wednesday, if you come to either of those little Zoom meetings, you could ask more questions. Okay, so book review. You will find the book review assignment in the assignments section of the Blackboard page. Now, I know it was in there twice, so I took out the first one. So now it's only in there once. So the assignment is on the same place where you're supposed to submit it. Now, at the very top of the assignment page, there is a book review sample, which was my husband's, so he won't sue me for FERPA violations. And there's also the book review rubric. I think it's up there. If not, it's also in the assignments page because some of you are emailing me like, well, how are you going to grade it? How are we supposed to know? That's why I put the rubric in there. So if you will look at the rubric and if you will look at the assignment description, there's also a list of books. Now, several of you are emailing me, and I don't know what it is with kids, and adults too. It's not just kids. But if you have a history class and you have to do a book review, you always want to do a book about the Holocaust. Okay, it's a U.S. history class, and we do some bad things, but that's not one of them. Now, if you just have to do a book about the Holocaust, you have to make sure that you can somehow tie it to U.S. history, which might be a chore because there have been so many people that are so Holocaust centered in the book review. I did add to the list the Gerda Weissman Klein book, All But My Life. She was in a concentration camp that got rescued, saved, opened by American soldiers, and she ends up marrying one of them and moving to the United States. And she writes a book, makes a short film, it's a documentary film, wins a Pulitzer Prize or an Oscar or something. And I've gone to a couple of conferences where she spoke. She's really good. The book's really good. And okay, here's the other thing. Pretty much everything that I've suggested to you as far as book reviews on that list, but it's going to be easier for you if you read a book that you're interested in. Now, the fact that you're waiting till this week to ask me about the book review and it's due on Friday also suggests that you may need to, at this point, pick a short book. Now, a couple of you've already turned in your book reviews. Good job. Woo! Okay. Those of you that have turned them in have either read um, Home Before Morning, which is the Linda Van Deventer book about a lady who's a nurse in Vietnam, and she's super gung-ho when she goes and says, go team, go USA, stop the commies, and it's not pretty, and her life ends up a little messy, but I mean, she'll do some good things with it and she'll reform, and that's always a good lesson, but it's tough. And that's a rough book to read, but that'll keep you interested. And then the other book is that John Howard, Mitchell Howard, I don't know, it's in the list. A book called Black Like Me, which is a weird book about a guy who wants to find out how blacks and whites treat each other when nobody's looking, and can't really do it as a reporter. So, as a white guy, he decides to pretend to be a black guy and go undercover and then writes about how people are really treated in the 60s. And it mostly gets him run out of the country, but it's an interesting book and kind of a reminder to people that segregation and racial discrimination and some pretty crass, nasty, and dangerous stuff really did occur in places that weren't the Deep South, because Texas really is a little more the West than the Deep South. I think part of that book he goes to either Louisiana or Mississippi, maybe both. So it's been a while since I read it. Okay. Now, again, book review. There's very specific directions, 3 different sections. Make sure that you follow those directions and make sure when you write, excuse me, um, past tense usually works best because it's a history book review. Also, some of you are asking me, can I do a book review about a novel? That's probably a bad idea, because you're gonna have to talk about how the textbook, considers the source that you talk about, and if the book's a novel, it's not true. If you pick historical fiction, then you're gonna have to talk a lot about the setting, and you're gonna have to be pretty expert in the time period to recognize whether the setting is proper or not. Okay. Cardinal sin here in the book review is the same thing that's a problem with any other college assignment. No plagiarism. Don't do it. Don't go online and find somebody else's book review. Don't copy big sections of an online book review and stick it in as a paragraph. It's fine for you to quote other sources. Just actually quote them. It's fine. And I expect you to quote the book because section 2 is, does the author prove their thesis? So you're going to have to tell me what their thesis was or why they wrote the book. If it's a biography, why did they pick that person? Why were they so important? And you're also going to have to show me evidence that they proved their thesis. So you'll probably do that by quoting the book. All right. I already talked longer than I planned to. You can tell it's the end of the day. I look tired, don't I? You guys look tired? No, you look good. I can tell. I can't even see you, and I know you look good. All right. I hope you have a nice evening. Um, if you need a book suggestion, honestly, I'd go with one of the shorter ones, The Black Like Me or Home Before Morning, or a biography of somebody that you think is really interesting. We're looking for somebody related to U.S. history after the Civil War. Okay. And again, you know my email address, so send me an email if you have a question. Hey, have a good night. I know you're keeping weird hours, so when you're up tonight writing your book review at 2 in the morning, I'm keeping weird hours too, but I'm probably not emailing you back at 2 in the morning. All right. Okay. Zoom meetings Tuesday at 1, I think, and Wednesday at 3. Come to one, come to both, come to neither, your call. Really just for questions about the book review or this week's assignment. All right. Oh, and turn in your late work really soon if you could. And no more late work. And don't turn in this book review late. I'm not, no, These things I got to read. I read your other stuff too, but these are going to be longer. So I really don't want any spare ones. So turn it in, turn it in on time. Give me a week or two to grade it. Oh my gosh, I'm really looking forward to it though. I am. They'll be good. I really like the ones I've read so far. All right, I'm done. Have a good night. Nice to see you. Bye.